Now let's talk about Madonna. Her lyrics, look around, everywhere you turn is heartache. Could not be more poignant right now.
Yeah, music is a universal language, and this year we are celebrating 30 years since the release of Vogue with one of Madge's backup dancers who starred in that video clip. His name is Carlton Wilborn, and he joins us from Los Angeles. Good morning.
Hey, Carlton.
Good morning, everybody. Hello, Australia.
Hey, congratulations. 30 years of Vogue, Vogue, Vogue. Do you remember some of the moves still? Do you remember some of the moves?
I remember like the first 2 times
Okay. But you
I try to not hold on to the rest.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. But you described the rehearsals for the music videos like boot camp. Did Madonna crack the whip?
I mean, I wouldn't say that she herself cracked the whip. I think just the nature of doing a show at that scale with an artist that cares about perfection to the degree that she does, it really feels like it's just part of the daily work. We were there from 10 to 5, 6 days a week. Once we got closer to the shows, we moved the actual set of the stage into a sound stage, and we did 3 weeks of rehearsal. That was, again, 10 to 5. Then we had 2 run-throughs to do each day. But it wasn't like she was pushing it. It's just like that is what is necessary to pull this off at the level that we want to do it.
Yeah,
right. I mean, you're a classically trained dancer yourself, so what would you say? Because Madonna really, I guess, was a street dancer in a way. She did some theatre, she did everything. But what was it like to perform with her on stage with your background?
It was amazing. I mean, you know, before I get to like performing with her and back on stage, I think about a moment when we were in the rehearsals and we were doing one of the tours, because I did the Blonde Ambition tour, which ended up being Truth or Dare, and then I went back out and did the Girly Show. But when we were working on Blonde Ambition, where Vogue was featured, I remember one of the rehearsals that we had, and they had worked with the dancers on their own for a number of days, and then they brought in M to place her where she needed to be. And it blew my mind how solid, not only was she with just the moves, but the transitions and everything. And what it taught me was that she was as intricately detailed to the movement of classical dance, even though the choreography was not that, but the specificity of what's needed inside of classical ballet, she brought to the art form that we did on the tour. And I was blown away and really impressed. It was awesome.
Wow. Yeah, attention to detail. Now, there were 7 of you on tour with M, as you described her at the time, and you all became stars in your own right. You as a role model in the gay community, what was that like, and how has your experience been working with Madonna changed your life?
Oh, Belinda, look, I mean, it's been phenomenal, and to that I can say, because so we did all of that off of the Blonde Ambition tour, which was Truth or Dare. Cut to 27, 28 years ago, a new documentary called Strike a Pose came out that honored myself and the 6 other guys.
Wow.
And I say all that to say, when we were in it in 1990, 91, doing the tour and the video and all of that, the world was not positioned the way that it is right now with the media outlets and the media exposure and things like that. So we didn't have a sense of the scale that the world took on what we did. We were just doing our thing. You know, she decided to have cameras on the everyday experience of it, and we showed up and did our thing. What's been profound, and Kevin Stay, who's one of the dancers from the show, he lives in Los Angeles, as do I. He and I were talking about when Strike a Pose dropped, why it seemed like such a powerful new expression from people. And what he and I shared was that because all the years previous, we had only gotten information via the internet, comments weekly, all these years. I get mine, Kevin gets his, Oliver gets his. But what was different was being in the face of people and seeing them crying when we did Strike a Pose.
Wow.
That was there just to represent the men. So Kevin and I were talking about before Strike a Pose happened, it seemed like people had been interested in us because they were really trying to get close to the machine that was M and her world. What we experienced when we were on our own press junket for Strike a Pose was the relevance, the true authentic power and value that we as the individual men had, which we could not see from back then And so it's just been a powerful journey of
So I suppose then,
affirmation.
Carlton, this Madonna really allowing the gays to be on you guys, on the LGBTQI community. She's always been a champion of that from way back in her days in the 80s in New York clubs. That really helped, I guess, in a certain way, in her own way, help progress the movement forward, is what you're saying.
It absolutely did. And what's interesting was that it was really an organic way of hers. She didn't sit down with us as a group and have a collective conversation going, here's the agenda of the tour, here's the agenda of the documentary, Truth or Dare. No, she said, I'm doing my tour, I'm going to film it. So I think at the nuts and bolts of it, the power that I learned from M, she's a mighty force that has a life called sent agenda to wake up the collective consciousness of people in this kind of way. And it just happened to be where her heart got moved from, was to target this community of people that were marginalized and not honored at the level that they should be. And so here we are today. So it just is kind of who she be.
Amazing, Carlton.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Fabulous insight. Thanks for that, Carlton. Madonna
Sure.
was my first cassette that I bought, so I'm a huge fan. You can watch Carlton's story now on Netflix and the new movie documentary, Strike a Pose.
That looks fabulous. I want to see that.
It does.